Hello, I'm Wolfgang, and these are my quick tips. Today, it's WTF. What the flip? A quick question. Are you content and happy with your life and the world around you at this very moment? Personally, I believe that anyone with a smidgen of ethics, insight, and caring cannot give an affirmative answer. You see, in fact, a few weeks ago, I was complaining about stupidity on airlines and at airports, when I suddenly stopped myself and questioned whether I wasn't becoming a bitter old man. Thankfully, talking to younger people around me, I realized that most people were also becoming frustrated at the same issues that were annoying me. Yet, there seems to be a lack of communication and insight into tackling these WTF moments of our modern world. So today, what I'd like to do is highlight some of the absurdities I notice in my daily life and leave you with food for thought to find balance again. First, control and bureaucracy. If you haven't guessed it, I fly a lot. So the other day, the lounge was closed for renovation and I went to have a meal in the general public area. So I ordered a Dagwood toasted sandwich, and lo and behold, I get a plastic knife and fork. Now, I don't know about you, but have you ever tried to eat a Dagwood with one of those? They break. I naturally complained. And you know what? I received that regurgitated, learnt answer that it was for passenger safety. Weird. Because in the business and the first class lounges, I actually get normal steel cutlery. Of course, the waitress had no answer to that. So here's my WTF moment. Which moron actually came up with this law? I started thinking about this and talking to myself as I'm walking back to the plane, not noticing everyone looking at me. Then it hit me that in today's society, it's not enough for one idiot to come up with a nonsensical law, but every airport in the world has implemented the same stupidity. Is it contagious? It must be. WTF. Then I calmed down and I realized how stupid I actually was. How silly of me not to realize that upmarket, high-profile people with money who can actually afford to fly business class would never even consider hijacking a plane or ever think of committing violence in an airport. It's only the plebs that fly coach class, hence they the ones which end up with a plastic cutlery. Logic! You know what? It's all good and well to criticize corporates and their stupid policies, but here's the real crux of the matter. No one complains or highlights this madness. People actually sit there and they accept it. So my question is, who are the real idiots? And then we wonder why the world is in the state that it is. Well, besides nonsensical corporate policies, being a slave to consumerism is the other huge problem. Phew! And it's a biggie. I'm curious, does the feces of a person driving a Ferrari smell any better than that of a person driving an old Morris Minor? Honestly, I don't think so. So why on earth is everyone so caught up in having bigger and better stuff than everyone around them? If you believe that your designer clothes label or the high-end supermarket where you shop or the exclusive upmarket suburb where you live makes you better than the person who doesn't frequent your places or your regular haunts or enjoys the luxuries that you do, then I seriously think you need some help. However, I cannot blame you for thinking like this, as the majority of the world has been brainwashed by consumerism to believe that what they have characterizes who they are in the world. WTF. Does beluga caviar really taste better than salmon roe? In fact, does eating caviar make you better than the person eating a Big Mac? Have you ever stood at a traffic light in your car and some youngster next to you is revving their car? They're trying to challenge you, for that race. And when they race off ahead of you, does it make them any better than you? If anything, I think it makes them more stupid. You know what? Arriving with a real pearl necklace at a gala dinner versus a piece of costume jewelry made from rhinestones. Is there a difference? If you look at the bigger picture and what is truly important in life. None of the above examples should feature anywhere. You know, I watch these annoying yuppies in restaurants as they complain that the wine isn't to their liking, and the champagne isn't Dom Perignon white gold, but it's only Krug. I watch how people actually admit to each other that they would never be seen shopping in a $1 store, and cannot imagine the embarrassment of being exposed in such a place. Oh, never mind the types of people that shop there. Don't you just want to slap these pompous twats? And never mind sitting with coach class on a plane. Oh, Horace, it's first class or nothing. Okay, I could literally carry on for hours with examples of elitism, arrogance, and simple, blatant naivety. But does sitting on a Chippendale's chair really make your butt more comfortable than sitting on a cushion on a plastic chair? I don't think so. Yet more and more people in today's world define their own happiness by what they own and have, and that which is of a higher quality than that of their social circle. Have you ever watched those types that have to park in the first row of parking spaces at the supermarket, even if they have to wait an entire 30 minutes for one to become available? They're determined to get that space. The thought of parking in the second row and walking 5 meters further is unthinkable. Huh? How sad a society have we become? I'd like you to sit down for 30 minutes and try and think of and write down all the silly things that you place importance on. I dare you. And then I want you to ask yourself some honest questions, such as, will wearing a no-name brand sale t-shirt really make me feel any worse than a designer t-shirt? How will it negatively affect you right now? Dare I suggest that you won't break out in warts and your friends will still talk to you? Reality check. It won't impinge your life at all, except maybe save you a large sum of money that you could be using on something more practical or productive, like maybe an old age pension. Sadly, for most people, this materialistic mindset and madness has reached a point of no return. In fact, I find myself saddened that no matter how you try, reason and explain to these consumer junkies that it doesn't matter what you have or own, the less they get it. You know, these days I simply shut up and I move on as quickly as I can, as I've realized that they don't want to listen. And I now fully understand the quotation, which years ago was brought out by an unknown author, that says, when arguing with an idiot, make sure you're not the idiot. So rather than frustrate myself, I find contentment in sitting on my balcony and enjoying the sunsets with a good dram of whiskey. I find contentment in chatting with my children and seeing how they grasp the importance of keeping it simple and appreciating honest friendships and relationships based on respect rather than on social standing. Some of my acquaintances tend to criticize my views, and they respond that, oh, just because I am at that phase in life where I have had and can afford the good things, it's easy to have the view that I do. Hey, they're entitled to their opinions. Good for them. However, here's the reality. If I think back to my younger days, when I started out, in fact, my first apartment, you know what? I didn't care what brand of kettle my wife and I bought. We wanted a kettle so we could make coffee. Our first car wasn't chosen on brand, but on convenience and affordability. Boy, were we happy with that car. Did it make us any better or worse than the person who owned the new sports car? I don't think so. In fact, I challenge you to think of people you know or have met that simply have a good energy about them. There's just something about them. You know the types, when they walk into a room, everyone turns around and looks. It's got nothing to do with what they're wearing. It's simply, there's a magnetic aura, personality. Now, if that same person didn't own 1 cent and walked into a room full of pompous dignitaries and politicians, I bet you that everyone would still turn around and they would be jealous of the natural confidence and contentment displayed by this person. Why can't you be that person? Maybe we just try and hide our insecurities in our materialistic behavior. Who knows? However, my challenge to you is to go and sit down in a quiet room and honestly ask yourself what you could live without. Imagine you were stranded on an island and you had nothing and you merely needed a few things to survive. What would they be? Food? Yeah. But you wouldn't care whether it came from an upmarket or a normal supermarket as long as it was fresh. Your focus would be on satisfying a hunger. Shelter. You want to be protected from the surrounding environment. If banana leaves keep the rain out, then so be it. Would you really need imported roof tiles? What about health? If you cut yourself, surely a natural remedy from a plant would be good enough? Or do you really need that 5-star plus private double room with 24-hour nurses in a private clinic on call? If there is any focus on financial issues in later life, it should be medical cover. What about family? Surely having your family under the same roof will enhance communication and family morale than if they each had their own pool house and private butler? I'm fascinated by the fact that most people strive to maintain a certain image their whole lives. And then, the day they retire, they downsize completely and live their simple life all the time, professing that they are now focusing on quality of life. That kind of doesn't make sense, huh? Actually, it does. It takes most people their entire lifetime to realize that the materialistic life is a lie. And that when you are older, it's the small things that count, like stopping to smell the roses, watching a sunrise, sitting with your partner in silence and just watching the waves roll in. A simple meal cooked by two over a bottle of wine can be the cheapest yet most romantic experience ever. So again, I ask you, why do people equate happiness with materialism? The most wealth I will have one day when I am old and retire is not the technological stuff I bought in my youth, but the emotional memories I created. WTF. That's all I can say. Please go out there and start creating those special memories so that you have true and real wealth later on in life. I'm Wolfgang Riebe. Speak to you again soon. Cheers.